Alright, ladies and gentlemen, this is a quick video here for the Dynasty Football League. Earlier today, roughly 5 o'clock, I had planned on trying to go live with the free agency stage that we discussed at the end of the last video. Teams now have the opportunity to complete their rosters, fill out their rosters, and all I need from each and every owner is a quote-unquote priority list of which position they'd like to fill and or which individual players they personally would like to target. Now, also stated, you didn't have to send this list. You had no need to, unless you so desired, because you had specific players you want to target. Now, that being said, since I was unable to get to that video this evening, there is still time to submit your priority list of position or priority list of individual players per round, if you will. So what's going to happen is when I fire up the game and go through everything, I'm going to go to the first team on the priority list based on overalls. And we already determined that based off team's overall and salary cap situation. So that being said, the number one team on the priority list is the Sentinels. If I do not receive a priority list from them, and this goes for any team, but we're just going to use them as the example since they're the first one, I'm going to go through the list and look at their quote-unquote team needs that they need to fill their roster. Now, quarterback's the first thing that comes up when you go through the roster. Then it's running back, fullback. I am going through that in that exact order offensively. On the defensive side, I'm going through the defensive positions in order that shows up on the roster page. So, if they submit nothing and they're the number one team in priority, I'm going to look at their team overall. 82. That's why they're number one. Their offensive ranking is 81. Their defensive ranking is 85. That means I'm going to fill their priority needs first on offense. So I have a list wrote down for all 16 teams that states how many players each team needs to fill their roster. Now, we discussed this also in the last video. I had stated every team's going to need to carry 2 quarterbacks minimum. Every team's going to need to carry at least 2 running backs minimum. I honestly would prefer 3, but if I can get away with giving everybody 2, we're cool with that. Everybody's going to need a fullback. Some teams might not even use it, but the game's going to require you to carry a fullback. Wide receivers. Every team's going to need to carry at least 5. Tight ends, at least 2. Left tackles, left guards, centers, right guards, right tackles. All 2. Left end, 2. Right end, 2. Defensive tackles, 3. Left outside, middle, and right outside linebackers, all 2. You're going to need to carry at least 4 corners, 2 safeties on each position at safety, strong and or free. Then you need to have at least 1 kicker and 1 punter. Following those guidelines, I've wrote down the list of what each and every single team needs. Now, like I was saying, using the Sentinels as an example, let's just say I know they need left tackle more than running back. It doesn't matter. If their list is not submitted, I'm going to running back first because that's the first one on the list. Then, when it goes around to the second round of free agent filling of the rosters, if they need a fullback, I'm doing fullback next, even though I still know they need something else first. It doesn't matter. And what I mean by that is, let's just say their left tackle is a 62, but there's a 68 in free agency, and they have a running back who's a 90, and there's one in free agency that's an 86. Doesn't matter. They're going to get that 86 running back before they get that left tackle, for example, even though they would need that left tackle more. I think everybody understands what I'm trying to say. And to mention the quote-unquote priority list, I will give you the list in order. It will go Sentinels, the Crusaders, Gunners, the Beats, the Aviators, the Mounties, Then at number 7 is the Desperados. The Express are at 8, which is the top half of the league. The Cougars are 8. 9 is the Express. I'll get that right. I think that's right, yes. Then at number 10 is the Black Knights. Then it's the Hounds at number 11. Shamrocks are 12. Nighthawks are 13. Pioneers 14. Redwoods 15. And the Riverhogs are 16. Now I'll go through all 16 teams. Once all 16 teams are done, I'm going to go to the next stage, which would be the second round. Then we'll go through a third round, and then a fourth round. Now here's the thing. Let's just take a random team like, say, the Desperados. Say the Desperados need 4 players to fill their roster completely. Well, once we go through round 4, they're now no longer going to need anybody. So I'm not going to be giving them another player in round 5, even though another team might need somebody in round 5. So round 5, when we get to the Mounties at 6, if the Desperados don't need a player at 7, I just go right past them and go to who's at number 8. And then I'll go to who's at number 9. And so let's just say the 10th team, the Black Knights, don't need nobody. Then I jump to number 11, which would be the Hounds, so on and so forth. Now, if you've submitted a quote-unquote priority list of players, of individual players you want to target, then those are the players I'm going to target for your team. I've explained this, like I said, in the prior video, so I know exactly who to target for you. So you could write down round 1, I want that guy. If he's there, I give him to you. Here's the problem with submitting a quote-unquote priority list of individual players. If round 1 comes by and you want so-and-so and he's gone, I don't give you anybody in that particular round. When round 2 rolls around, I'll check and see if round 2 name is available. If he's gone, you don't get nobody. And I will continue to do this with your priority list until your priority list is empty. Then once your priority list is empty and you still have team needs, I will fill your team needs as if I'm filling it like everybody else. And I hope you guys understand what I'm saying like that. And if not, I'll explain it real quick. And that is, again, going through your list. When I get through your list and it's done and you still have needs, I now know your priority list of needs. I will then go and fill in your roster for you. Now, let's just say a team like the Express submits their needs. They need defense more than offense because their defense is 81 overall. Their offense is 85 overall. So if they submit a list and get nobody off the list, for example, or 1 or 2 people off the list but still have holes, I will then go to the defense and go to in order of position that comes up on the roster and start filling their holes round after round. So it's going to be a pretty simple process. It would probably be time consuming. I'm going to be doing it at some point. The main reason why I didn't get to the video today is it was my anniversary today. Wife and I have been together 15 years today, and it is now, I believe, 10:30 or so here, where I'm at in the east. Most of you know I'm in Pennsylvania, so wife and I are waking up in the morning, going to go get some breakfast, possibly just like Dunkin' Donut coffees or some shit. We're coming home and relaxing. And then we're going to go out and have some lunch tomorrow somewhere. Didn't do anything today because I worked this morning into this afternoon. And the kids have been home. So tomorrow they go to school. So we're going to have some fun, do some things tomorrow. But at some point tomorrow, like I said, I plan on trying to do this video, whether she's home or not. So when I get online to do this video, if you don't hear me chatting with you guys, do understand it's because she's home and I'm just going through the process. And you guys can just see me going through the steps on who I'm signing. I'll probably have the microphone, like I said, turned off. If you're in the chat and you need to hear me say something to you or you need questions answered, you got to talk to me about something, don't be afraid to talk in the chat. And I'll try to comment here and there where I can. I have no exact idea exactly when I'm going to do this tomorrow because deadline for your list was today at 5 o'clock. So if you missed that deadline, like I said, since I didn't go live I'm giving you the opportunity to get those lists in as soon as possible. So, again, don't forget to get them in. Send them to me absolutely as fast as you can. And if you don't, and you're okay with trusting the process, if you will, that's great. I know as a quote-unquote team owner, I would want to determine my own priority list, but hey, as long as my rosters get filled. By this point, if you're picking somebody up on the priority list, man, my phone dinging. At this point, if you're picking up somebody on the quote-unquote priority list, and it's going to end up being a starter, I know that sucks, but hopefully none of us are doing that. And to all the owners, I appreciate you. I really do for doing this. I like the fact that we had no problem finding 16 owners to do this from Jump Street. It's fun. It's awesome. The one thing I just now thought about recently was, what happens if we have to replace one of these owners with somebody else next season? The team owner name shows up on the page as that person. So I'm going to wonder if I can actually go in there, remove the ownership from that team, from my account, so to speak, but then reassign it and create a new owner. I'm going to have to check into that. This way we can rename the new owners the name of the new person. I think I should be able to do it that way. It was just something I was thinking of. Now, as far as the league itself, I originally wanted to start the league, I'm not going to lie, tomorrow. I wanted to have our first games tomorrow. So, here's what I plan on doing, since I really can't. I'm off on Tuesday. My wife probably works 4 o'clock in the morning Tuesday. So I plan on waking up Tuesday, because tomorrow, like I said, I plan on getting this stage done. This is the final stage of the priority. Also, real quick before I say what I was about to say, when you submit your priority list, if you have players you want to cut off your roster, submit that list to me as soon as possible as well, so I know who to remove from your roster. Now, we were doing a one-time courtesy of removing any and all salary cap. That's right now. Now, we've already cleared it, but because we have a few more stages we need to complete, I will clear the cap one more time. Once week 1 starts, salary cap clearing and resetting is over. There will be no more salary cap, reset as far as penalties. So if you release a player and his penalty is $8 million, you've got $8 million held against your cap next year. We're going to clear any and all for this season only, simply because we didn't set these teams up ourselves. We let the computer fantasy draft it. We had to make moves because some players might not have fitted our scheme. So if you've got needs to fix and need things you need to take care of, let me know. I've already gotten some people's cut lists, and I've already gone into the game and released said players. So some teams haven't sent any. Some teams might not want to cut anyone because, honestly, talent and depth is very, very, very thin in some positions. That's why a team like the Beats, the Beats, if you will, were able to pick up a very strong left tackle in the draft. So that was possibly, to me, that was the best player in the draft, even though his overall wasn't quite the highest. He was clearly the best, because our offensive linemen are so thin, it's unfreaking real. So I guess, like I said, I think you guys understand what I'm talking about when it comes to that. But in any case, I'm going to wrap this video up. We're going in about 15 minutes now. So get the list to me, and to get back to what I was saying, that Tuesday morning around 4 o'clock, what I might do is I might run a preseason game or two that morning, just simply because I want to see how long it takes for us to simulate a game. And at the same time, I don't want to simulate a game in our league, because it could give those two teams an advantage entering the regular season, because they might see things on their team that other teams might not. So in a preseason game, you might say, oh, look at him play, look at what he can do, and then you see your backup and you're like, wait a minute, the backup's fitting my scheme better, I want to start him. and the other 14 teams won't have that opportunity if I only run one game. So I might just run like a simulation game, like with two average roster NFL teams. Like, for example, we know the 49ers are playing the Packers, and we know the Chiefs are playing the Titans. So I might run like a simulation of one of those two games just for shits and giggles at 10 minutes, because we're doing 10-minute quarters, just to see how long a game will take to run on simulation. So when the season starts, you guys know, if a game starts at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, it's going to take X amount of time for it to be over. So you can make plans accordingly to watch the games if you so desire, because you don't want to miss them live, or when you want to go back and watch the quote-unquote replays. So, but anyway, like I said, wrapping this up. Get to me what you need to get to me, if anything. And we will finalize this final stage tomorrow, so we can start setting up in-game action. If I can't start the season during this particular week coming up, then I'm going to let you guys know now. The season will start next Monday. Not tomorrow Monday. Next Monday. Which means it'll give you a week to make any and all final moves if you feel you need to make any, whether it be via trades, hit up the free agency, and things of that nature. And I was asked this: what if once this free agency cycle's over, if there's players still in the free agent market, if I want them, what can I do? Here's what's going to happen. I want to cover that real quick. So say we hit this free agency cycle, and we go through however many rounds it is, and every single team then fills their roster. But you still see a player on the board that you would love to add to your roster as depth. Those players will then come out on a first-come, first-served basis. So let's just say there's a wide receiver in free agency available, and he's a 76. And you're like, I don't need a 76 on my team, but he's 23, 24, 25 years old. He's young. Maybe if I sign him, he can develop a little bit better. Plus, I have depth if one of my guys get hurt. I know I already have 4 or 5 wide receivers, but I don't have a problem adding a 6th, a 7th, whatever the case may be. I want him. You got to just contact me and tell me who you want. And that's it. This is who I want. Now, this is where my day will get hectic, because, again, it's going to become first come, first serve. Now, I'm not home between the hours of 3 a.m. and basically 1:30 p.m. when I'm on a work schedule. So anything I get during those days is obviously going to sit there and wait, and I'll have to cipher through it based off a timestamp. But then when I'm home the rest of the day, this is what I'm going to do. Go through all the timestamps on each message that I get and go through everything in order. And I'm going to do it on a live video. I know this one's being recorded, but I'm going to go through it on a live video. And then once I'm done with that live video, I will go off the air, and then I'll come back again if there's any more signings that want to take place. There will be a time where I'm going to cut off the signing period, and that's going to be based off when I know I can set the league up, because I want everybody to know what they're facing at least 48 to 72 hours before the season starts. So if I know I can start the season Thursday, then I'm going to cut that period off probably tomorrow, for example, right away, or Tuesday. So, like I said, we're honestly rushing into getting this done. We're rushing through these steps to get things done. But at the same time, we're completing the steps beautifully. We're getting things done awesomely. Everybody's been pretty good so far, knowing what's going on and figuring things out. Hardly anybody's had any issues. There's been a couple hiccups here or there with a couple owners on certain things, but they figured it out after talking to me. So we're ready to rock and roll. And this first season is going to be a whole bunch of trial and error and shits and giggles fun. So, but whoever wins the first championship, that isn't to demean it any or lower the value, if you will. But we all do know whoever wins the Season 2 one is going to have a more prestigious championship than in Season 1. Because Season 2 is going to be a whole bunch more, and what have you. So again, just to wrap this up, because I'm heading in on 20 minutes, send in your priority list if you want one. If not, I'm going to take care of it the best way I can. If you have any trade requests, send those in as well before I forget to mention that. And then again, if you want anybody you want to cut, send that to me as well. And then once the free agent signings are over, the cuts are over, and the trades are over, we're going to clear the cap, finalize rosters. Now, finalizing the roster again is after any of you decide, oh, he's free, I want him. Oh, he's free, I want him. And we're going to do that over like a 2-3 day period, if that. 2 days probably would be the most. I don't even know why I said 3. This way we can get the season rocking and rolling. And then, here's the rule. Once that's done, the rosters are locked in. There is no more picking up a free agent unless you drop a guy to pick up a guy. And that's how we're going to do that then the rest of the year. The only time you don't is if it's to replace somebody who got hurt. So if you have 5 running backs, one gets hurt, and you wanted to carry 5, well, now you can pick up another and leave that guy on the roster. Or, say you have a running back and you just think he sucks, you can then drop him to pick up a new one. Those are going to be the 2 ways you can make the move on the free agency. So, hopefully you guys will listen to this video start to finish, know what's going on, because some people have not listened to the videos completely and fully, have tuned in, tuned out, and then are so lost and confused on what's going on while talking to me, clearly indicating they're watching the entire video and they're not paying attention completely. So, hopefully you guys will get it. So I'm going to wrap this up. Again, I appreciate you. Let's get this Dynasty Football League rolling. The DFL, yes, DFL. We were originally going to be just like Madden Football League, but that's just so generic. So we are the Dynasty Football League, since that's what we're doing. We're building our own little dynasties here. I didn't want to call it Franchise Football League because FFL just is weird. There's so many FFLs out there. So we're the Dynasty Football League. Who will own the dynasty of dynasties in our league? We're going to find out. All right, this is the SLS Gaming Network. Send me those messages. Skype, Twitter, email, call me, whatever. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm out of here. Later.